938 Live gets you talking with The Breakfast Club.
Welcome to Breakthrough with MindEdge. This program on 938 Live is brought to you by MindEdge. Get the winning edge with MindEdge. Thanks for joining us this morning, and today we're going to be giving you more tips on accelerating your learning through brain training. How can you use more of your brain and get the best out of it? Joining us this morning is Alan Yip. He's the founder of MindEdge and two-time record holder in memory power in the Singapore Book of Records. Alan is also the best-selling author of Fantastic Parenting. Now, his learning academy, MindEdge, is backed by over 20 years of research in gender science. It's validated across 30 cultures. And MindEdge trainers truly understand how your boy and girl can harness their brain-based characteristics to really reach their full potential in terms of learning and character building through small group coaching of only 10 per class. Good morning, Alan. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Now, I understand, Alan, that your phones were ringing non-stop, off the hook, callers inquiring about this new program that you have, Fantastic Brain Clinic. I understand this is jointly presented by, of course, your academy, MindEdge, and your partners, EduBlocks. Tell us more about this Brain Clinic.
Well, I'm very excited to share this new program with you, and in my humble opinion, I think this is the most powerful combination of training in cognitive skills, which we'll talk about more today, and memory, power, language acquisition and application skills ever presented in Singapore. I think, first of all, for those of you who called in and expressed the keen interest, I thank you for your faith in MindEdge, because this is the program which will literally change the hard wiring of your child's brain, okay? If they have not been doing well or doing as well as they should be, now is a grand opportunity for them to be trained, okay, within the hard wiring and the cognitive skills and so forth. And if they have been doing well, now the question is, how can we turn them from good to great? That's the question, right? And now let me just share very quickly about the Brain Clinic, which will be run in the last week of June, okay? Very quickly, you may want to just pen down these dates from 23rd to 27th of June. 5 full intensive days of training. How are we going to do it? In the entire Singapore, we're going to offer only 36 seats. Okay, this is really exclusive because we are flying in 2 master trainers from EduBlocks, including Susan Plexus, who is actually the Director of Educational Programs at EduBlocks, and she's the younger daughter of the founder of EduBlocks. So you will have the opportunity or privilege of meeting her. How is it going to be run? Very interesting. We are going to have 3 classes being run concurrently. So 12 students in one class going through computer brain training, widening eye span, improving reading comprehension, improving auditory memory, visual memory, and so forth. The other 12 students in another class learning memory techniques, study techniques, and so forth. And another 12 in another class yet working on reading, comprehension, logical reasoning, and things like that. Every 30 minutes, they will switch.
Okay.
So this is very important. So we capture the maximum attention span. We also change mental activities. So for 5 days, that's how we're going to do it. Now, most camps really fall short in terms of long-lasting results or sustainable outcome. Why? Because there was no follow-up, there was no reinforcement. With this very unique, fantastic Brain Clinic, we will have 6 months of follow-up, ongoing support and reinforcement and encouragement. We have trainers keeping in touch with your child, and we also have 6 months brain training software, and that license is going to be given to you for 6 months. And parents, you can now coach your children at home, or they can work on their own. So very exciting program.
You mentioned that the training will be centered on cognitive skills. Let's talk about cognitive skills and how they determine a person's learning ability, no matter what level they're at.
That's absolutely right. I think, first of all, according to oxfordlearning.com, okay, you can check it out, oxfordlearning.com, they emphasize that cognitive skills are the skills that separate the good learners from the so-so or average learners. And this is a secret, actually, because if your child has become frustrated or has found schoolwork difficult, right, trying to just catch up or trying to stay afloat, well, you've got to look deeper now. More tuition programs will not help them because they don't have the building blocks. And now you're asking to build something, right? You better make sure they have the foundational skills, or what we call components first. And what does that mean in the future too? In later part or years of their life. A lack of cognitive skills, that means auditory, visual memory, that means concentration, attention, that means logic and reasoning, and that means planning and problem solving. They are going to be what? At a disadvantage, right? In this brutally competitive marketplace. And they will sell themselves short. And they may be stuck even in dead-end jobs. So today, let's really focus on cognitive skill or brain training to move them to a very high level of achievement and fulfillment.
And one of the most important components is memory. We discussed this last week, how memory plays a huge role in learning. And there are different types of memory that we need to pay attention to. Perhaps you could recap that for us.
Sure. First of all, now most people don't know, most teachers, most parents with the best intent are not aware of this. That is, auditory memory is probably the most prevalent and yet most often overlooked learning skill.
So if you're listening to us now, you really need to pay attention, because all this stuff could be put into your auditory memory if you know how to do it. Yeah?
Yes, and even when you're reading, this is the interesting thing, according to Eddie Cusimano, the author of the book Learning Disabilities, There's a Cure. Now, we are not talking about just learning difficulties. We're talking about learning excellence, academic achievement. And the key is this: when you read, you actually must listen and process the information you say to yourselves silently, right? So you are actually practicing auditory memory. Now, if your child has difficulty following instructions or directions, for example, let me give you an instruction right now. Well, complete every other question on page 15 and all the questions on page 16 before you work on geography and mathematics. Okay. Did you follow that?
Yes, I sort of did. Complete every other question.
Page 15.
Every question on the second one before you do geography and math.
So this is the key, because when your child is sitting in class, what is your child doing? Now, this is the interesting thing, okay? For children with auditory perception problems, I'm going to use the word problems, they seem to ignore verbal directions. They appear to be daydreaming. They even ask for repetitions or directions, and they always say, what? Or they watch someone else and see what they're doing first before they actually do it. Lastly, they have poor speech patterns, so they are falling behind in school. Very important to work on auditory memory. Next, visual memory. 80% of learning occurs with visual learning, visual memory. What does that mean? Do you understand? Can you imagine? Can you synthesize what you are learning visually? And of course, short-term memory. When your child is having learning problems, oftentimes it's because of a very weak working or short-term memory. Now, without a strong, powerful long-term memory, how can you go for exams, right? Come on. You can't even keep information in your long-term memory. Research has shown that when you improve on all these types of memory, your child will now be on the right path to excelling, not just in school, but in life.
When we continue, we'll give you more information on some memory techniques and applications that you can use with your child. Stay with us on Breakthrough with MindEdge, brought to you by MindEdge. Get the winning edge with MindEdge.
938 Live. 938 Live gets you talking with the Breakfast Club.
Welcome back to Breakthrough with MindEdge, brought to you by MindEdge. Get the winning edge with MindEdge. Today we're giving you more tips on accelerating your learning through brain training. Alan Yip from MindEdge joins us again. Now, Alan, let's dive into some of the memory techniques and applications that people can use.
Excellent. Now, for the sake of time, let's get started. How do you remember the different regions of taste buds on your tongue, for example?
There's a picture you can actually look at.
And this is exactly what I want you to do. So imagine there's a U shape. So this is the tongue. Now most students just repeat and repeat. Actually, at the top, at the back, that's bitter. Is okay? Yeah. And then at the upper side, on each side, is sour. Okay. Then the lower end on each side is salty. And of course, the tip of your tongue is for sweet. Is okay? Now, most students just repeat and repeat. But from now on, I want to share one method with you. It's called Diagram Master that we invented within MindEdge. So now imagine this U shape is a face. So far, so good? Okay. Just a face. And now put 2 ears at the top on each side. So far, so good? Okay. So now, this is important. We use association and visualization again. So imagine you squeeze lemon juice into your ear. Is okay?
That would be sour.
That would be good job. That would be sour on each side. Is okay? And now it hurts. You cry and the tears fall down on the lower cheeks on each side of your face. It's salty, right?
Because of the tears.
Because of the tears. And now the forehead at the top, and you get sick. You have a fever. And now you're thinking, oh no, I'm going to take some bitter medicine.
Right.
So that's bitter at the top.
Okay.
And to ease your comfort, okay, you are having a lollipop. And
Sweet. Right at the tip. Right.
Once you do that, you'll remember for life.
Okay, perfect. That sounds like a great method. Give us a few other examples.
Okay, excellent. Now, this is really important when you attend our weekend workshops. Your child or children will learn the powerful memory techniques in building word power. Let me just share some with you. For example, the word personage, okay? It means an important person. Now, most students will just repeat again. That's not smart. When you break the word up, personage, what do you see?
Person and age.
Good job.
Yeah.
So, person with age. Wow. This is an important person.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Okay.
So the point now is you are using your whole brain and imagination and association. And another one is, let's look at the word abscond, okay? Abscond. And it means to run away or escape. Now, how do you learn that word? Again, by repeating or cramming. That is primitive, stone-aged. You don't want that. Look at the word abscond and read it out loud. Okay, teach your child. Abscond, abscond. Well, abs, your abs. Your abs doing what? Running away from the air-cond. C-O-N-D. If you can just form that ridiculous story, is okay. So A-B-S-C-O-N-D. So abscond.
Well, that's the point, right? The more ridiculous it looks in your mind, the more easily you will learn it.
Actually, that's how the human brain learns. Okay, you want to use illogical for logical purpose. If it's too mundane, you don't remember it. That's why most of you or students don't remember the key points, because they are not being made alive.
Let's talk about spelling now, Alan. What causes spelling difficulties? That's something that a lot of people struggle with, and how can these techniques help?
Excellent. Students with learning difficulties or in reading as well usually have problems in spelling, because most people don't understand that the English language is actually very tricky. It's okay. For example, soldier. You can't really use phonics, right? So
Yeah.
it's tricky. So what we need to do is, again, through the brain clinic, we analyze the foundational areas of weaknesses, and we improve your child in auditory perception, decoding skills, visual memory, and so forth. Now let's look at some words, okay? How do you spell the word cemetery? Okay, where you see the graveyard, the tombstones. And most people will spell it as what? C-E-M-E-T-A-R-Y.
But it's not spelled that way.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's C-E-M-E-T-E-R-Y. How do you remember that? By doing corrections, right? You think you can learn it? No. You look at the 3 E. Now go ahead and draw a small rectangle around each letter E, okay? So now you see 3 tombstones. How about that?
Okay.
You see 3 identical tombstones.
With the letter E and
Exactly.
on
So
them.
that's visual memory. Or how about auditory memory? Maybe you think of that, you say E. So all E's, right?
Okay. That's one way of doing
Is
it.
that
certainly.
good?
Yeah.
So that's how you do it.
Now, it's been said that the art of memory is also the art of attention. Now, this is something we'll be discussing in detail next week, but
Yes.
give us a sneak preview now.
Okay, good. Before we end, okay, I have a quick quiz for you. This bus is going from point A to point B and from point B to point C. I want you to count the number of passengers. There are 3 passengers on the bus. From point A to point B, 9 passengers get on the bus. 3 got off the bus. You are the driver. From point B to point C, 8 passengers got on the bus and 5 got off the bus. Question: how many passengers remain on the bus at point C? So
12.
testing your auditory. Okay, 12. And what's the name of the driver?
Bharati, that's the name of the driver.
What's the name of the driver?
You said you're the driver, so
you
I'm
are
the
sharp.
driver.
You
Yeah.
are sharp. You see, people will miss that.
Yeah.
See, that's very important. We want to train your child, your son, your daughter to be sharp. Okay, in terms of auditory, in terms of visual, in terms of concentration. So tune in. Okay, it's going to be very exciting.
If you want to have more fun optimizing your brain, your child's brain, do attend the workshops this weekend. Alan, what can we expect actually from this week's fantastic Brain Clinic introductory workshop?
Excellent. Now, I'm going to keep it short, okay? If your child is not motivated to study, if your child is suffering from low self-esteem because of academic failure or setbacks, if your child cannot focus well, and if your child is struggling to reach his or her full potential, you will learn the cutting-edge techniques and strategies to help your children start excelling right away. It's okay. We'll teach you all these powerful techniques. And one more thing. Many of you have been asking how to sign up for the fantastic Brain Clinic. I am not in a position to accept enrollment yet, although many of you want to sign up. When you attend this workshop, we'll give you the details because, again, the seats are very limited. We are offering half of the seats to our students' parents first. It's okay at MindEdge. So just come and learn more about this very exciting program.
Okay, so there's one workshop this Saturday, 24th May from 6:30 to 9:30. Another one on Sunday, 25th May from 1:45 to 4:45 p.m. Both happening at the MindEdge Centre at Singapore Post Centre. It's right next to Paya Lebar MRT. Here's the number to call if you want to secure your seats. 6345-1618. 6345-1618. I can assure you the lines will be busy, but please do keep on trying and call as soon as you can. Seats go pretty fast. Thanks for joining us on Breakthrough with MindEdge, brought to you by MindEdge. Get the winning edge with MindEdge.
938 Live.